The following episode of Dad vs. Daughter was made possible by a contribution from Eagle-Gryphon Games. Railways of the World from Eagle-Gryphon Games is, as you can see, a very large game. In fact, this game is so large that it has been around for 10 years. So we now have the 10th anniversary edition. Now, this is a game where we're going to be connecting all sorts of cities across the eastern United States. We're going to be making those railway links. We're going to be upgrading our engines. We're going to probably go into debt because that's the only way you're going to get any money. But you're going to also collect a bunch of income along the way. So let's see what this is all about, as Railways of the World is our game of the week. So this is the start. This is the setup of Railways of the World. You can see this is the Railways of the Eastern U.S. map. It is a very large map. I'd say probably Ticket to Ride size. Yeah. We've got the individual cities seated with the goods already based on the number. If you can see this, they all have a number down there. Those were randomly drawn out of a bag. There are colored cities, which that's the type of good that they want. The gray cities don't know what they want yet. They're kind of fickle. And once you take the new city action, we will be putting a color onto those so we know what demands that city has. We will be playing a 3-player game, and we will play until we have 12 cities that are empty of all their goods. We will be using this little marker here to show the cities that are empty. There we go, you can see that. Little dead cattle head there and a sign. The game is going to be played over several turns until we have 12 of those out. We will always start with an auction, and that will determine who the first player is. First player will also get an option of taking certain cards. They can lay track. You can lay up to 4 sections of track at a time. Unless you have a card that allows you to have 5. You're going to pay depending on the terrain that you are traversing. And you want to try to link the cities together so that you can transport goods from one to the other. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and play several rounds just so we can get some things on the board for you to see. And then we're going to come back and we're going to show you what a completed round looks like. Okay, we're several rounds into the game now, so you can see the board is kind of taking shape. I am actually out by myself in the Midwest because, you know, I'm a Midwestern boy. Unchecked, and Chris and Hefe are fighting over New England. So they got quite the battle going on there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually take you through an entire turn. So the turn is made up of several things. We start off with an auction. Then we're going to have 3 action phases. We're going to collect income, and then we will flip a new card, which I did not flip a new card from last time. These are from the event deck. This one is the Charleston Hotel. So Hefe, now that you're down in that area of the map, you might be interested in this. So you're going to gain a point on the income track for every good delivered to Charleston, regardless of which player makes the delivery. So hotels are always good because, like I said, you don't have to be the one that makes the delivery, just as long as somebody delivers there. So you can get quite the amount of income built up for that. So the way we left it, the turn order last turn was Hefe was first. He got the little first player trained, so he will be the first one to actually bid. Right now he's just looking over the cards to see if there's anything that he necessarily wants.
I'll bid 3.
So $3,000.
$3,000 to me. You know what? I think I'm going to pass.
4.
No. I'll bid 5.
This would be the 3rd turn that you would be the first player. I don't like that, but I also don't want to bid, so I'll give it to you.
All right, so Hefe will pay the amount of his bid, and his first action, he is taking a card. So we will go ahead and we will show the player actions there. My turn. Because your available actions are, you can either take a card, you can build track, and you can make a delivery. You could do a new city, which I've already done 2 new cities here. It costs 10 grand, but you get to choose which color that you want to make that new city, and then you put a couple extra cubes on there. I think I'm just going to go ahead and make a delivery. I'm going to go from Milwaukee to Chicago, and I will deliver this red good because that's what Chicago wants. And I'll just put that cube back in the bag. Now, I will get to move up on the income track, so I will move up to $14.
All right. I'm going to upgrade my engine, which going from a level 2 to a level 3 engine will cost me $10,000.
So I'll show you, this is the engine that Chris now has. So this means that he can now deliver a link of 3. So if you can see up on the top of the board up here where he has 1, 2, 3, 4, actually he has 5 links that are together. He can deliver a good between 3 of those links. And then you saw that he paid 10 grand for that.
I moved us into phase 2. I'll make a delivery to Charleston. Move me up 1 point, please.
2, actually. That's 2 links.
Is it 2? Oh, it's 1
Yep.
point per link. Oh, no, for each good cube delivered, it's only 1 point.
That's your
No,
bonus.
you're going to get a bonus. So
Oh.
you delivered 2 distances and to your hotel.
Oh, I'm with you.
So
Gotcha.
you will actually get 3,
Got it. Yep, you're right.
which is nice. I am going to upgrade my engine from a level 1 to a level 2. That will cost me 5 grand. So that is my turn.
All right. Since I have a level 3, I can move 3 distances. Yeah. So I have from Boston up here, we'll go 1, 2, 3 to Philadelphia.
Nice.
So that moves me up 3 on the scoring track. Plus, I then acquire the speed record card.
This is the first one to deliver with a link of 3.
An additional 3 points.
Nice. So this is a nice card to have there.
I just moved us into phase 3. And I'm going to take this card here, Perfect Engineering.
That'll allow him to move to lay 5 pieces of track in his turn instead of 4 pieces of track.
Yeah, normally you get to only do 4. And you'll notice on the board there's these little hexes, so each one of those is a layer or is a length of track. Now that I have a level 2, I will deliver from Rock Island to Milwaukee. So that is a 2 link. So I will move up 2 on the income track. I'm still in last place.
All right, and then I unfortunately don't have any 3s left, so I'm just going to go from... Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to get a point out of this. So from New York, 2 stops to Boston. So 2 for me, but unfortunately, Hefe has the Boston Hotel, so he will also get a point.
Love you, man.
Okay. So that is the end of our player action rounds. So now you'll notice on the turn phase, we have a $sign. That means we are going to collect income. Now I will pan over here so you can see the income track down here. We will start with me. I am at 15 on the track, but I have 3 bonds. So what that means is I subtract 1,000 from my income for each bond that I have. So that will give me $12,000. Next we have Hefe. Hefe is at 16, but look at this. He has a ton of bonds. So you said you had 7?
7.
So you're going to get 9.
Thank you.
And then Chris now is in the lead. He is at $17 on the income.
And 3.
So minus 3, so he'll be getting $14,000. And then the last thing that we do on the turn order track is we flip a new event card, which you saw at the beginning there. This new event card is, man, just keep helping you guys out on the East Coast. The Baltimore Hotel. You're going to gain a point of income on the income track for every good that is delivered to Baltimore. So I think that gives you a really good feel for how the round and the game is played. You're basically delivering goods from one city to another city. You're building tracks. You're trying to basically get to there before your neighbors do. Oh, and Chris just put a empty city marker on one of the empty cities that we forgot to do earlier. So we are about a third of the way done with the game. We've got 3 on the board, but we've got 12 to go. So we will come back and give you our review just a little bit later. Okay, in our game, it was definitely a runaway. We had Chris, who was sitting way the heck up here at 72. I actually finished second at 45, and Hefe finished 37, but I think that was a lot due to the fact that you had 7 bonds, and your Baron card, which we didn't talk about, which is an end-game bonus, your Baron card was you got bonus if you were the fewest, if you had the fewest bonds, which you actually had the most. So let's go back over here to the board and show you what it kind of looks like, the final state there. So you can see that Jeff and Chris pretty much dominated the Midwest, or the New England. I stayed in the Midwest by myself, but I didn't expand my my links enough. I only went to 4. I should have expanded more.
Yeah, it's expensive to build in the Midwest, so sometimes that can be difficult, especially if you're not gaining the income. You really don't have the ability to expand. The New England section, since everything is within 1 or 2 links of each other, it's a much faster ability to deliver and start building income.
Now, we have played this with up to 6 players, and the game, depending on the players, can go long. If I recall, our 6-player game wasn't that bad. It was maybe 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't. The number of empty city markers is not necessarily proportional, as you have more empty city markers with 6 players, but it's not the similar nut count. So I think it's 4 for each of the 3 players in this one, and if you did a 6-player, it's not 24 markers, so it goes a little quicker with 6.
Yeah, and this was what, about 2 hours?
Yeah, right around 2.
So that's not bad. So let's talk about the gameplay in general. I'm going to start off by saying I love this game. This is my favorite railway game, even over Ticket to Ride, and I love Ticket to Ride. I love the pickup and deliver aspect. I love the fact that you've got so many unique ways to build your tracks out. You don't know, you've got what the cities are going to want. It's a multiple setup, or a variant setup every time. It's kind of the luck of the draw how you're pulling cubes out of the bag.
I like the fact that the board starts with so many gray cities that don't know what goods that they want, and you have the ability then, it's an expensive action, but you can then create demand in the cities of specific colors that you want, so it allows you to manipulate the board.
Now, we did actually have a number of the event cards that came up that allowed you to basically do the new city action for free, and those seem to drive up the bidding quite a bit. It's a $10,000 action on its own, but if you get to do it for free and you can spend less than 10 grand, it's kind of a bargain. Also, if you can get it so it benefits you instead of somebody else. I did it a couple of times on my side, and you guys did it a few times on the East Coast as well. Mm-hmm. So that's really kind of a neat thing. Anything else you want to talk about gameplay?
So I like the fast turns. So on your turn, you're going to do one thing. You have a list of about 5 things that you can do. You're going to choose one of them and do it. It can be as simple as choosing a card as an action, delivering one good as an action. So the turns around the table go quick. You're not removed from gameplay. Everybody's involved at almost every part of the game. So I like that.
And there is that screw your neighbor aspect too.
Yep.
Hefe and I really like that part in games, although we didn't do that in this game.
Really?
Because you can block people, you can prevent them from getting a consecutive link, which Chris was not really blocked much. He was able to get is that 6?
Yeah.
He had a 6 link on the East Coast, so you can play screw your neighbor on that, or you can be like me and be peaceful in the Midwest and not have to worry about that. But that is there if you like that aspect of it. the board is so huge that there are so many places that you can build, and the game tries to get you to go in certain places by giving you bonuses. If you're the first person to deliver to Mobile or Jacksonville, Toronto, so that's kind of spread on the board, so that gives you some incentive for going certain places. So I think that's really cool. The other thing I like are the hotel cards. The hotels allow you to get an extra income basically whenever anybody delivers into that city, whether it's you or anybody else. So if you can get one of those strategic cities, with New York, Philadelphia, Charleston,
Boston was really good for Hefe.
yeah, you can really clean up there. The Baron cards I was mentioning earlier, those are kind of neat. You're going to get 2 at the beginning of the game. Choose one, and those are going to give you something to shoot for in-game bonuses. I got a bonus I got 2 points for every railroad I had coming out of Chicago linked to another city. Chris was, if he was the first one to be to level 6 on his trains, which he was, and I already told you what Hefe's was. So there's a bunch of those. There is a good stack. I mean, we still had this many cards in the event stack to go through that we didn't. So that's also going to change up the game every time that you play. Let's talk components. And let's talk components just for this edition, because we're going to talk about a comparison between this, which is the 10th anniversary edition, and the original version. So the little cubes that you get, they're your standard wooden cubes, nothing major there. I think the board is really cool, especially when you step back and you look at it from a whole instead of looking at all the individual things. The Great Lakes, to me, when I'm standing back, really pop out. I do like the empty city markers. However, I do like them better in the original version. The tokens for the railroads, there's all different kinds. You get a ton of these. These are nice and thick. They're double-sided. A lot of different configurations, straights, curves, crosses. That works really well. The bonds that we have, these are smaller than the original, and they're kind of, would you say, they almost have a laminated feel to them.
Yeah, they are.
And then you have paper money, which not really a big fan of, but at least the paper money is big. I wish they would have printed on both sides, but that's kind of a minor thing. I think the rule book is really good. The 10th anniversary rule book contains rules for all the expansions as well. The train cards that you have, those are nice and thick, sturdy, good artwork on those. The trains themselves, they have green and they have blue, so great dad versus daughter coverage there. Chris is generally always red, so we've got that. There's also yellow and I think purple. I can't think of the other color at the moment, but good selection of colors there. Chris, what do you think of the components?
So the board is nice and clear. So being able to see what's a water tile versus what's a mountain tile, that was really, really clear. The colors on the cities were really clear. They matched the cubes for the most part, so you can tell what cube is delivering to what city. Yeah, I think you hit the mark on that. I do like the empty city tokens that are here. They are a different design from what's in the original, and I like these, but I would like the variety that they have in the original. So maybe these mixed in with the other ones. But yeah.
All right. So now that we've talked about what we like about the game in general, Chris actually has the original version. So we're going to pull that out and we're going to show you what the differences are between the two. Okay, so you can see this is the original, and here is the 10th anniversary edition. Now, the biggest thing that jumps out to me about the original is it's a lot lighter, and it's shinier. It's got a shiny finish, whereas the 10th anniversary has a more dull and matte finish, which I think I actually like the 10th anniversary view better.
So the other thing that I'll point out is the cubes that come with the original. If you look at the cube color versus the city color, I don't know how well that comes through on the camera, but this is blue, and that certainly is not the same blue. So it makes it look like maybe that's supposed to be purple, but the city is looking for blue, not purple. And then if you compare the purple to the actual purple color, they don't match at all.
Yeah,
So,
they
when
they
we
match a
look at
little bit
these-
better on the new one.
Yep.
But
Aside go ahead.
size wise, I think the map is the exact same size. We do a real quick overlay there.
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
It's identical in size, but like I said, you can see the difference in the color and the glossiness of the maps.
Something else I like too is this is more prominent, where you have the big gray dots on the map.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, and it calls out the water hexes here, where the water is not indicated on the hexes. So it's much more legible over here.
Now at the bottom, you'll notice that on the original, you've got the railways of the eastern U.S. down at the bottom here, and the round over here. On this one, they actually kind of changed it. Instead of round, it's the phases. So they show you've got your auction, you've got your actions, your money, and then your cards. So I kind of like that a little bit better as well. And you can see up at the top the difference in the railways of the eastern U.S. is very big and bold, and I like that better. So overall, I think I like my map better than your maps, Chris.
I agree wholeheartedly.
All right, so that is the differences in the maps. Now let's talk about the other components. Here is the side-by-side of the scoring tracks. We have the original, and then we have the 10th anniversary edition. I'm going to again go with mine over yours, Chris, because I like how it's got the serpentine look to it. Yours is brighter, so that keeps in with the boards. The finish is still the same. They're the same size. Mm-hmm. But here you've got to, you don't have the curves, so you got to know, I'm jumping from 19 to 20 over here. The curves kind of are more intuitive, I think, for the scoring.
I think the font is a little bit bigger on the new board as well, so it's a little easier to tell what's going on.
Yeah, I think there's more of a contrast there too.
Definitely more legible.
These are the empty city markers. Now, there's, I think, the same amount as far as between the old and the new, but you can tell in the old, you've got the train station, the water tower, whatever that thing's called, and then your crossing thing, whereas in the new version, you just have that. So I think I'm going to go with the older version here. I prefer to have a little bit of difference, and I think those are actually neater than the new version.
Yeah, I agree. The one change that I would make, though, is I'd replace the railroad crossing with this, and I think that would be my ideal set.
Yeah. Now the bonds have the same type of finish, but you can tell a little bit of size difference between the original and the 10th anniversary one. They basically have the same image on there. This is a little bit more big and vibrant as opposed to this one, and this also has kind of a little bit more flavor, I guess. They're not double-sided, so the bonds to me don't really need to be that big. This is kind of a wash. They're not big to begin with. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that I have a preference of one over the other. The board is a table hog, so with the newer bonds, it takes up just a little bit less footprint, so that might be good. Even on a table as large as this one is, it can get pretty full with pieces. So
yeah, that's a good point. Old money, new money. I think I'd go with the old money. I like the different colors. I like the colors of the old money better than the colors of the new money, I think.
I do too. The only problem that I have is the colorblind green to blue might be a little too much. You have a wider difference between the three colors here. So I could see from a colorblind standpoint, you might like the higher contrast, but I agree. I like the green and the blue there.
But the graphic on the money looks the same. Layout, size, and everything, quality that is all the same. Mm-hmm. Here's the comparison of the trains, old and new. The new are more darker colors, and there's a difference. There's black in the new, and there's gray in the old. For the most part, I like your blue and your green, and even the red I like better in yours. I think I like the yellow, purple, and black better on mine.
Yeah, I think I'm in a little different camp, but same that I have a mixed opinion. I like the blue and the purple from yours over the one in mine. I definitely like my red better. I think I like the gray over the black, because the first player marker is black in this game, and there's some other things that are black in the 10th anniversary. So I think the gray would be a little more contrast.
That's a good point. I failed to catch that, but I really don't like the yellow there.
Like
That's almost like a yellowish green.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the differences in the trains. So I think I will go with the 10th anniversary bag over the original. It is a little bit smaller, but it is, it's got that nice embroider. Well, it's not really embroidered, but the logo there, or the words. And it is a felt bag, where yours is more of a linen bag. But I mean,
but they can both be felt.
They can both be felt. So that is what I have to put up with every time I play a game with Hefe. He doesn't speak much, but when he does, that's what you get. Finally, we have the box comparison here. We have old and new. Gonna have to go with the old one on this one. I think the insert having the molded plastic, I like that. I like the fact that there is a tray. Hefe, you want to open that or lift that tray up that has the money? And you can see underneath there is a well for all of the train tiles. But the box is also a little bit taller, just a fraction longer, but it is also thicker. They really kind of up that. Plus, they have this notch here on both ends.
Yeah, Eagle-gryphon is really good about putting the notch in so you can lift things out. Yeah, I like the new insert a lot more. Much more functional.
So yeah, one of the other things with the new insert is it actually comes with this plastic cover. So it'll keep everything from popping out, which the old doesn't have. So again, that's another reason why I think the new insert is better, because then we just put the boards on top of that, and then with the notched area for the lid, it makes it real easy to get those all out of there. So that really is it. Everything else is pretty much the same. The railway cards, the locomotive cards. Do you notice any other differences?
No, the Baron cards, the event cards, the locomotives, and all of the tiles, track tiles are all the same.
All right, so that'll do it for our review of Railways of the World. Again, 2 thumbs up, my favorite train game. Highly recommend this. Big thanks to Chris and Hefe for helping me out with the video by playing through. Chris, kicked our butts really bad. But you know what? That's how you want to lose. You want to lose to friends. So until next time, we will catch you guys later. So one of the final things, because I forgot, is after we put the lids on, you can see, I think, more pronounced the difference in the height. But the artwork is the same. The only thing that's really different is there is the 10th anniversary seal on top of there. This is a little glossier than this, but not by much. But everything else is the same. If you would like to support us, you can visit patreon.com/dadvdaughter.
Like and follow us on Facebook to stay current on our show schedule, sneak peeks at future shows, and to interact with us.